Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, mothers, fathers, daughters, sons, brothers, and sisters. Welcome to the League of Europe PC League, season number 2, round number 15, the penultimate round here at Belgium's amazing Spa-Francorchamps. My name is King Kodiak, and I'll be one of your commentators throughout this evening's race. Now, unfortunately, I am experiencing some technical difficulty with my audio. I'm trying to fix them on the fly. But we'll have to live with what I have got, I'm afraid. But joining me on this merry-go-round of madness, it is the world's best badger. It is the Badger Man.
Yeah, I'm very excited for this one, Kodiak. This is the penultimate round, you mentioned it, and we have a title battle on our hand. Last week in Italy, we saw Velo strike a punch against J. Cole and Merck obviously wasn't there. J. Cole was hit by a series of unfortunate events, disconnected, ultimately scored 0 points, and Velo 18 really, really big points. He can close out the championship here tonight.
Yes, I saw on the points table. Unfortunately, I missed last week due to other commitments, but yeah, wow, what a difference a couple of weeks makes. Absolutely unbelievable the difference that's gone on in just a couple of rounds. J. Cole's always had that slim lead, but it's always been there, and here we are, and suddenly Velo is got, well, it's as big a lead as we've seen all season from anyone.
Yeah, and it's to a point where we might see the championship decided here tonight. At the same time, I think both J. Cole and Merck still have an opportunity to stay in it and at least delay the championship decision until Brazil. But they need some, I don't want to say interference, but they need some help. Some interference from outside this world, I would say, from the racing gods above, if they want to have a chance. I think one of them needs to win here at the very least, and maybe a very unfortunate result this time around for Velo. Otherwise, 18 points, quite a bit. It's not enough for either of them to win if Velo does the best he can and get a second place. And don't forget, if we're looking at some of these drivers, we have Jake Wills, we have Miko Hawatayoki, we have two drivers that were part of the previous F1 Esports Series Challengers season. So certainly drivers that are going to get involved in the battle over the win here tonight. Jake has won 3 races, already been on the podium 4 times. Hawatayoki won 2 races, been on the podium in 3. But that gets more impressive if you realize, or when you realize, that Jake has only participated in 6 races and he won half of them.
Yeah.
And Hawatayoki only participated in 3, won 2. So those two very quick drivers indeed. And so, yeah, it's going to be difficult. J. Cole, meanwhile, does come across the line with a 141.2. And look at this. Our 3 championship contestants, 1, 2, and 3 right now. Mercked ahead. And as I say, that Kasu pushes down Velo. But still, very, very strong start here from all of them. 41-0 to 41-3. Just over a quarter of a second between those 3 drivers.
You'll have to continue doing the radio broadcast for the moment, if you wouldn't mind, Mr. Badgerman, whilst I tinker with a few more things. So please do continue.
All right. Yeah, we'll do that. Not the first time I've done radio broadcasts of a racing event. Last time that happened, however, it was, I think, a 1-hour race at Belgium. It's not going to take that long here tonight.
No.
But it happened on R-Factor, and I lost connection to the server right at the start. I had to do a radio broadcast for a whole hour because I could not reconnect. But there is Miko Hawatayoki now in P1. He just beats out Mercked by 18 milliseconds. So those are the margins that we expect here. Let me see, where is Jake W? He's getting some slipstream, I think, off of LTU here, just for a little bit down the Kemmel Straight, and that could help him quite significantly as he, nope, never mind.
Now I have lost audio altogether. Oh, goodness me. This is going rather well. Apologies, ladies and gentlemen. We will get this sorted out as quickly as possible. I've now lost connection to Steam as well, and I can't hear anything that's going on. Oh, goodness me, it's all gone horribly wrong. All gone horribly wrong. Technical troubles are plenty. Let me just try to...
He just...
Badgerman is... Right, good.
Yes.
Badgerman is back. Well, sorry, Badgerman is back to me, I should say.
Yeah, there you go.
So just all my sound cut out then, which is rather testament to my various issues. Oh, goodness me! How long is left of the session?
11 minutes exactly to the second.
Jolly good. So we still have. There's still time.
There's plenty of time. In fact, all cars except Vapor Sven are currently in the pit lane, and Sven is about to start a lap as we speak. He comes across the line right now and is the only car out on track. So not much happening going on. Not much happening or going on right now on track. Sven going through La Source, heading down towards Eau Rouge. Yeah, everyone else just, they're taking a calm. We have 8 times on the board right now. Hautayoki and Merkt very, very close on provisional front row there. Hautayoki P1, Merkt P2. 18 milliseconds between those two, both in a 1 minute 41.0. Then we have J. Cole in third, 41.2. Kasu in fourth, 41.3. Velo fifth, 41.3. 17 milliseconds between those two there.
Could you re-invite me to the session, please?
I can, yes, of course.
I might have solved it. Do not ask me how, but I might have done.
Yeah. XE in P6, 42.1. LTU in 7th, 42.2. V8 field in P8, 43.3. Everyone else, no lap times yet. Sven, meanwhile, through the middle sector, coming through Piff Paff here, now heading down to Stavelo. And from there, it's going to be a matte dash. 113.6 after 2 sectors for Sven. That is not too great. He's about 7/10 down on Hautayoki here, so he will likely slot into P6 ahead of Xe if he doesn't make any mistake in the bus stop chicane. He does not do that, and across the line he comes, and it is a 141.7, and he is P6 indeed.
Lovely. Can I get that session invite, please?
I already sent you one.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
Oh, I can send you another one if you want to.
Yes, please.
There we go. Sent.
Can't see it.
Okay, that is bad.
Yes, somewhat.
Could you try to join sort of through my...
I don't know that works, unfortunately. On my screen, you're not live on Steam.
What?
Clearly. I did have a Steam disconnection message earlier, so that's probably why. On my screen, you are showing as not online. Never mind. Please do continue with the radio broadcast.
I mean, well, there are some issues apparently with the drivers as well, and we've gone to the point we have some technical issues in the lobby itself. To the point where Velo, I think while being in the pit lane, just got a 31-second lap around the longest track on the calendar.
Wow.
Yeah, 31.9. I mean, just under the 32-second. But remember,
I've just been invited to it. So
yeah, that's why everyone is in the pit lane. That explains it very much. So interesting, that one. So a couple drivers struggling here, and it is apparently that some drivers also lost connection. So it seems like it is a Steam issue. Yeah, the whole lobby dipped, is what J. Cole said, who is the head of PCF1 as well. And many drivers have disconnected. So that explains why no one's out on track. I hope someone gives Matchip that memo, because he is still out on track and he's still racing here. So I hope he realizes and someone tells him that something isn't right and he needs to change lobbies.
Yeah, unfortunately that problem reappeared again, but I think I might have found the erroneous setting.
That is good. Okay, so the new invites apparently have gone out.
Yep, and because I've jumped out of the session again, I'll need another one, and there is the other one again. Well, not just me having a trouble here, ladies and gentlemen. Again, apologies for technical trouble, but Steam decided it didn't want to play ball with us, as well as my audio problems. However, see, what's really odd about my audio issue is it started mid-race, indeed towards the end of the race 2 weeks ago, or 2 races ago. All was well, and then just mysteriously Windows decided to play a weird trick on me. I think I have found it, but I don't want to get too excited just yet. So, are we getting everybody back in session, Mr. Badger?
Well, currently we have 12 drivers, so I think there are some that still haven't noticed.
Yeah.
And that are still trying to choose their cars. XCLTU and Sven have not chosen their respective cars. The Red Bull, Ferrari, and there you go, Sven in the Mercedes now. The other two, hopefully they don't forget. But yeah, I think we have a screenshot on the Discord as well of Velo's 31-second lap there. It's quite interesting, that one.
Impressive.
And one thing that I was just informed of,
Yes,
is that Jake Wills is not going to participate in qualifying. He wants to start from the back, since this is his last race of the season, and he says, "Want to have some fun." That is a direct quote. So it's not me saying that; that's him. But yeah, that's the motivation for that, and he will not try to qualify. He wants to start from the back, so that could make things a bit more interesting for the likes of J. Cole, Velo, and Merckx in the championship fight. But there's still Miko Hautayoki to account for, so we could still have a little bit going on there with Hautayoki, obviously being as quick as he is and as strong as he was the first 3 races and the last 3 races, which for him are the same. So there could still be one car sort of getting involved with the championship fight, who might knock them down a little bit, all of them down a little bit in terms of points, which will ultimately help Velo because he's got the 18-point gap. The fewer points his rivals can gain on him, the better for him.
very true indeed. So, whilst we are waiting to restart the qualifying session, did you gather your usual track facts, your amazing facts and figures you normally do?
As I always do, yes.
You beautiful badger, you. Fire away.
I have a database for it, which I didn't even need to gather anything. I just have it at the ready for every single track. On F1 2020, that is at least, I would say, that's either at least 4.2 kilometers long or it's called Monaco. Either way. But the other short tracks are not involved, is what I'm saying. The Bahrain short, Britain short, USA short, Japan short are not involved. But yeah, Belgium, I mentioned before, longest track of the calendar, just over 7 kilometers long. In fact, it is 1 kilometer and 1 meter longer than the second longest, which is the Baku City Circuit at 6.003. So Spa 7.004, 4.352 miles. Which means because it is so long, we're only going to have 22 laps of racing. But you saw the lap times right at the start of the session, over 1 minute 40. So it's not going to be many laps, but it's going to be a long laps. 19 corners, 10 to the left, 9 to the right. It is a clockwise circuit, as many are. So not much change there for the drivers. And the lap record, the real-life lap record, is held there by Valtteri Bottas from 2018 with a 1 minute 46.2. I would say expect the drivers to go a bit quicker in the race as well. The fastest lap should end up being around a 144, maybe 143. And the average lap speed here is 237 kilometers an hour, which makes it the fourth fastest track. The only ones faster, of course, Monza in P1 there, Silverstone in P2, and Austria by just under 2 kilometers per hour. Austria is still a little bit faster, but Spa, as I like to call it, the Ardennes roller coaster, it really is quite a fast track. The tires we're going to be using are the C3, C2, and C1, so the three hardest compounds of the selection. And the difference between the tires is pretty much 0.6 of a second. You can just remember that between the soft and the medium, 0.6, between the medium and the hard, 0.6 in fresh condition. And they last 9, 14, and 19 laps respectively. Time lost in the pit lane, pretty short. If you look at the pit lane, you cut out La Source. The pit entry is a little bit fiddly, but overall just 17.5 seconds. So a pit stop could, very early on, an undercut could very well just spit you out right in traffic.
Absolutely true. That's quite amazing, actually. So it's only 0.6 of a second between the two tyre compounds on such a long lap.
Yeah.
That's
it's because they're all so hard. Like, we have the hardest compounds. If we had the C2, I think the C2 would be 1.2 seconds quicker than the not the C2, the C4 would be 1.2 seconds quicker than the C3. But because we have the three harder compounds, we end up with this scenario. And what it ultimately does as well, I mean, you have to remember, there are not that many corners around here. There's a lot of straights, and of course the tires, as long as the lap is, the tires don't really hurt that much when you have a lot of straights. You don't really need the tires that much. You really need them for cornering. And a lot of the corners, thinking about it, a lot of the corners are quick already, so you don't have this, you don't need the low speed traction, except of course, turn 1 and the bus stop chicane. But other than that, it's a very fast-flowing circuit with not many super slow corners. It's not like Mexico. Just for comparison, I think if I just quickly look, the other tracks where we have the three hardest compounds, Brazil, much shorter, but there the gap is under half a second. Just under half a second between two compounds. We look at Japan, it's also 0.6 of a second. It's pretty much the same, but Japan's also almost 6 kilometers long. And so around a lot of these tracks, it turns out that way. And just to give you an idea, one track where we also use C3, C2, C1, Spain, actually the gap is slightly bigger. And we're talking milliseconds here. We're not talking, it's super huge. We're talking milliseconds here. But it is bigger, even though that track is I mean, it's under 2/3 of Spa in terms of distance, but you have so many corners, and especially so many slow corners there. Just think of the whole final sector in Spain, that there is quite a drastic difference. And so Spa, being as fast as it is, you don't need that traction from the tires that much, and it doesn't lose you that much time.
No, indeed. I wonder whether we're still having some difficulties here, because I've seen two drivers drop out whilst we were waiting for the last one to join the lobby. He's now counting in, although oddly I didn't hear the usual countdown noise. So I wonder if I'm still having some kind of sound issue. If so, we will get that sorted out. But we will see what is what as we head to trackside now. We hope. Well, everybody's tick appeared just now, and they've all disappeared again. Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Heading down to track. It's wonderful when the technology works, isn't it?
Yeah. The tick appearing and disappearing is normal, because the drivers, as they load into qualifying, they get to choose their tire distribution. They have three choices,
right, yes.
Harder, softer, or balanced. They really only need two choices, because in this format, at least, in short qualifying, a 50% race, there is no difference between balanced, and harder. The drivers get 3 sets of the softs, 1 set of the mediums for qualifying, and then an extra set of mediums and 1 set of the hards for the race. Whereas for the softer distribution, they get 4 sets of the softs and then 1 medium and 1 hard for the race. So the only difference is just 1 set of the mediums being switched out for a set of the softs in qualifying. Everything else stays the same. They get the same tires for the race. They get the same tires. The other 3 sets, they get the same for qualifying. It's just that 1 set that changes between the distributions. And they have to lock that in before they fully load into the session and before they are ready to get out on track. And that's the first tick, and then the second tick is them actually being in the session.
And I'm very happy to report that I have indeed solved the weird issue of your audio magically vanishing. So we can hear your beautiful badger dulcet tones for hopefully the remainder of the race. So
That is wonderful. Let's hope you didn't jinx it.
Yes, I've commentator cursed my own rig again. Let's crack on. Let's see who we have got for the penultimate round here in Spa. We have got Xe in the Red Bull. We have Miko Hautioki in the Renault, yet to leave the pits. We have championship contender, currently 3rd spot, 1 behind J. Cole, and that is Merckx in the Williams. I thought it said McLaren then. That's because I was looking at Lucky Finger's name, who is next on the list. He is indeed in the McLaren. We have Viper Alexander that has joined us in, with an invalid lap in the Alpha Tauri. We have V8 Field Yo, apparently. I'll stick without the yo because that just doesn't work in my accent, I'm afraid.
Just to quickly explain, it's a little bit of a play on a CRG driver, Liam Parnell, who goes by Liam Yo, and so there were some shenanigans in a different league where I actually get to commentate with V8 Field with Dan, where drivers were naming themselves either last name Parnell. There was Jake Benham, another Challengers driver, named himself Jake Parnell. I think there was someone else who also named this. I don't know. There's shenanigans going on there. That's why it's V8 Field Yo.
So we have Majip in the second house. We have Kango Khan yet to leave the pit lane in the Ferrari. Jake Wills, we know, is going to be doing a last the first challenge in the AlphaTauri. We have got Sven in the Mercedes. We have got Casu in the Williams, just going through a rouge and over La Source. No, La Source Radion. Goodness me, it's been a while since I've done Spa. We have Zadima in the Alfa Romeo. Velo, current championship leader in the lead Mercedes. We have LTU in the Ferrari. He's invalidated his lap. And finally, J. Cole, at the bottom of the list, in the Red Bull. Ooh, who are we going to keep our eye on? Miko
now. Well, the first one to cross the line is going to be Lucky Finger. He is on his way to the bus stop chicane right now, and it looked like a decent lap. Obviously, it's not going to be the best, but it's going to be in the 1:42s, I reckon, maybe 43. Just about the 42. There we go.
Great guess. Well called, sir. Very nicely done.
Next one is Madchip. That is a 43.7 for him. We have Merck, 41.0. That is better than in the previous session. Sven goes second, 41.9. Next up, we have Xe, who's going back into the pit lane. He does not want any of that. Zadima across the line. That's a 41.8. Just beats out Sven. We get the other Merck Velo, and that is a 41.4 second place right now. Hautioki starts the lap. He is not on one. Casu is going second, 41.2. And we get a couple more. We get Jekyll starting a lap. And then we get V8 Field, I think, who is, he's also finishing one. That is a 42.444. That is quite pleasing to the eye, but only P6. It would be better if it had been a 141.444, then it would have been fourth place.
Well, Vapor Esports are being well represented. 1, 2, 3, and 5. Yeah. Very nicely done. Jake Wills has come out. I think he's
logging the setup.
He's not going to.
Actually, he's going to start one.
Well, yeah, but he doesn't have to finish it, does he? So.
Oh yeah, fair enough. He could just slow down. Yeah.
or yeah, I expect him to come into the pits if he's going to live up
Or
to his
that.
word.
Yeah,
That's
LTU, meanwhile, coming
LTU.
across the line.
Yep, there he
And
is.
for him, yeah, it's going to be 42. Yep, 42-2. There we go. P6 for him just beats out VAP by 0.2 of a second. Lucky Finger is going to go back into the pit lane. Who else do we have? Hautayoki is on one right now, as Jake just started, and then J. Cole next. But Hautayoki is going to be the first one here. Just gets the Alfa Romeo out of the way there at the start of the final sector. So that's certainly helpful there for this run to the line. Then again, maybe he would want the slipstream. It might help here through Blanchiment, and basically throughout the whole final sector is really about one braking zone, and it's that one right here. It is the bus stop chicane, and he comes across the line. Will it be a 1 minute 40? It will just about be.
You are on fire, sir.
By 600ths of a second, he beats Merck. By 4.5 hundredths of a second, he actually gets into the 1 minute 40s.
If you could let me know what this week's winning lottery numbers are as well whilst you're on this, I'd be immensely grateful.
Let me think about them. I think it's 4, 8, 15, 16, 23, and 42. And if you get that reference, I'll be thoroughly impressed.
I don't, I'm afraid.
Those are the lottery numbers from Lost. From the show Lost.
Well, Jake Wheels is actually crossing the line, but he's already invalidated that. He's just having a good old bit of fun out there, getting the tail really lit up. Over the line he comes. He's determined to start in last position, and fair enough, brave man. But a great circuit to do the last to first challenge on. X is not wasting any time, coming straight back out again in the Red Bull. What time? I'm assuming he's just running with softs. He is indeed. No one is using anything other than. I guess if there's a smaller delta, then they might run with a medium, but it's not likely, I'd have thought.
No, it's not very likely. Plus, usually starting on the softs, it gives you a better opportunity if there is a safety car. You know, you can then switch on to, depending on when it is. If it happens on lap 1, we do get a safety car or virtual safety car on lap 1, then the drivers might be able to switch onto the hards right away and be able to finish the race on those and save some time in the pit lane. Whereas if a safety car comes out by the time we get to, I would say, about lap 5 or 6, then we might see some mediums being strapped on at that point, and the drivers then going to the end from there. You can always sort of take the safety car a bit earlier than the lifespan of the tires allows for, because of course under the safety car the drivers will be driving a little bit slower, in fact significantly slower, and so the tires don't wear out as much. The laps behind the safety car don't really count towards the lifespan. They usually wear out the tires at the rate of about a third or even a fourth to what a normal lap under race pace would do.
Fair enough. As we're watching Exy get a little bit of a wiggle on, getting out of Stavolo, now through Curve Paul Frey, and that's I didn't see who there was. 2 cars indeed getting out of the way. That's what the yellow flag was for. It's one of the Williams and one of the Hasses that jumped out of the way of Exy, as he's yet to get a time on the board. Waiting for Exy, Alexander and Kangagon to get their quali laps on through the chicane for the Red Bull. Let's see what he gets on the board. Sprint to the line, and that's a 42.287 for Exy. Not too bad at all.
2 cars getting out of the way were Mercked and Madchip, the 2 M drivers from those respective teams, if we want to call them that. And yeah, it got a little bit dicey there because they both had to completely get off the track. It's quite a tricky part of the track to sort of run side by side by, because yeah, sure, it is flat out, even for Blanchiment, but at the same time, there are quite a few twists and turns still on that straight. It's sort of comparable to what we saw at Zandvoort once you get out of turn 3 or 4, depending on how you count it. But you know, down that sort of quote-unquote back straight that isn't really straight, but it's flat out before turn 8. So really tricky there to go side by side, because you have to navigate the car so well to be able to run side by side there without contact or without damage.
Merckx is pressing on as Mika Hasayoki comes back out of the pits for another run. Now, Merckx did pick up a decent handful of slipstream off the back of Exy on the Camel Straight. So we'll see if it's going to pay off for him. It's coming towards the end of Sector 2 out of Stavelo, and it is a purple Sector 2 for the Williams. He only had 600ths of a second to find to reclaim the current top spot. We'll see if he is able to do so. J. Cole in 4th now. I think that's, has he just set that one? A 41.264. So
Beamer just improved by almost half a second up to P5.
For 141.383, yeah.
Yeah, there goes Hasayoki to start his lap. There is Merck now. That is P1.
Nice.
40.8 for him right there. One of the Haas, I think that was Madchip back into the pit lane. Now we have Velo coming through the final corner. He's up by a 10.5. That could be the position back on Zadima and J. Cole. In fact, I did not think he was going to be capable of slotting in those 26 thousandths of a second between J. Cole and Kasu, but he did. Up to P4 he goes. That can be crucial in the championship fight. V8 field coming across the line. Should improve by 3 positions, and he does. Up to P8 he goes. And now we have a little bit of time for the next one to come across the line, which would be, well, I'm going to try to find that. I don't think anyone, we're going to have outlaps next. Although, no, Hasayoki, of course. As Jake, I just saw that. Jake on intermediates.
Wow. That's imaginative. Nicely done. Let's pick up where Hasayoki is at the moment, and that's purple in Sector 2 for the Renaults. Can he reclaim that pole spot? We know, well, he can, certainly. Is he going to? Let's see how he does then. Screaming his way through Blanchimont, down towards the chicane once again. 5 minutes and change remaining of the session, so still time to get those last few laps in.
This should be a 1 minute 40.7 at the very least, maybe even a 140.6. And 140. Wow!
Oh my goodness!
Final sector. Wow. That he found 2/10 in the final sector alone. Half of the improvement on his previous lap he just found in the final sector, which again, it only has really 2 proper corners.
My word.
That is remarkable.
Yeah, I'm rather stunned by that. As it looked a stunning lap, and that's why it certainly was. But my goodness me, stamping his authority on that pole spot as we see Kasu in the second Williams returning to the pits. J. Cole is on another lap. Where are you? You are coming through turn 9, heading down towards Puon. A corner I absolutely dread. Love the circuit. Don't like this section. No matter what I throw at what I'm driving or what game it is, I fly off the road at Puon almost every single time.
Yeah, the one thing the drivers here are going to have to watch out for is the inside curb of Puon, because that one is quite steep, quite angular, and as such, it can throw off the car out of balance, out of shape, and into a spin very, very easily.
Now that's coming up as a purple for Sector 2 on my screen for J. Cole. So on for a bit of an improvement here. So it could certainly reclaim that 4th spot from Velo. Oh, a lock up into the chicane though. That's going to be a little costly. And a wag of the tail as well on the exit of the chicane. But he's still an improvement. A 41.064 sees J. Cole up to 4th place. But, wow, all hotly contested. And Velo has responded immediately. Straight back out on track for the Mercedes. 3 minutes 20 to go.
Yeah, generally a lockup doesn't have to be the end of your lap. Sometimes the drivers do like to lock up. It's certainly different here than it is in real life, where a lockup certainly is pretty much the end of any run you might have, and it is costly. Here, the drivers do play around a little bit with it. You do see lockups every now and again, and it's almost necessary to get to that limit, as Jake
said a lap.
The 154.2 on into. That's honestly on intermediates, that's quite an impressive time.
They
around this
must
track.
be bald. They must be
yeah.
absolutely burning at the moment.
Yeah, I would assume they look right now like Hamilton's intermediates looked at Turkey last year. Where they were completely flat. Completely
And no
used
turkey
up.
this year. No turkey this
Yeah.
year. That is
we
a
get an
shame.
Austria doubleheader.
Amen to that. Thoroughly looking forward to that, because last year's Austria doubleheader was brilliant.
Indeed.
Thoroughly enjoyed that, so no argument on that. But Turkey was, I mean, okay, you can argue Turkey was made good because of the weather, but Turkey's still a good race, though.
Yeah, it's a fun track as well. But,
Wow.
I do hope we do get it onto the game, but from what I heard, probably not, because it wasn't on the original calendar, and now it's off altogether anyway.
Yeah.
Although there's this rumor that, they have 2 historic tracks that they will include as well. That obviously coming from a leak from, I think, the Microsoft store, which is about as surprising of a source as I've ever heard. But, yeah, hopefully that is the case. Hopefully Turkey is one of them, but we'll see what happens. Meanwhile, Lucky Finger now through the middle sector misses the apex there of the left-hander. That will be quite costly. Misses the apex of Stavilo again, and that's 3/4 of a second down. He will not improve on this time. I think we can move on to the next one, and that would be there's a bunch of cars there. I think J. Cole retired. Nope, Merck just started a lap, so that's Kasu on an out lap. We have one of the that's also Sven on an out lap. I think Exy is next. Yes, indeed, Exy is next. There we go. Difficult to follow. Find, apologies, not to find, because I had to go through all these cars here to find where he is. But here comes Exy. Oh, gets a bit of slipstream there on the run to the bus stop. Will open the DRS on the run, and he invalidated in the final corner. That is just unfortunate. Velo also invalidated. He might be able to cross the line with another run, possibly. 20 seconds left. It might be his chance to do it. Kangokon, no lap. Alexander, no lap. So they are starting from the back. Velo back into the pit lane. It will be no better than P5 for him. LTU is on a lap. No, he's not on a lap right now. He's 6.5 seconds down. Let's not be silly here. Merkt has invalidated. No improvement from him either. Next one is going to be V8 field. What will his second sector split say? He has not invalidated yet. I want to make that very clear, because if I say he hasn't invalidated, I will commentate this guy some accidentally. I don't want to do that. So he's heading through Stavilo here. 2/10 up. Wouldn't be a position just yet on Sven. He's 2.5 up. But if he gets a good run here through the final sector, it might be an opportunity. Madchip will be next. And we get some speculations in the chat there that Jake is apparently struggling with a new brake pedal. I'm not sure he is. It's not as new anymore as V8 Field comes across the line. I think he's more struggling with intermediate tires. But here comes V8 Field and does improve. Loses a bit of time in the final sector, therefore no improvement on time here. Madchip going into the pit lane. That was close there as Lucky Finger crosses the line, moves up to P10, beats out Exy. Then we have Zudima, who has invalidated, no chance for him. Kasu, he has not invalidated. Don't know what the first 2 sectors were for him, but he's still going to finish this lap. Can he improve past Merck? Will he try to? Merck is still in the championship battle. Kasu doesn't care. He improves up to P2.
17 thousandths of a second separating the Williams pair for second and third. Very nicely done. LTU did 2 laps on those tyres, and he's lost on where the pit lane entrance is. There we go. He's now found it. It is really narrow, that pit lane entrance. I have seen it blocked before. I've seen someone actually manage to rotate a car and block it Austin Powers style completely sideways. So I have seen, not in F1 machinery, I'll add, but I have seen it done, and they weren't very happy about it, as you can imagine, because of course we watched them do it live when it happened. So
I've only seen it in recorded footage. I've never seen it live, unfortunately, but that would be something. I think it's very difficult to do with F1 cars for one main reason. I think the cars are too long.
Yeah, they wouldn't fit.
Be able to fully. They wouldn't fit exactly. You would have to sort of, if you could just, make an F1 car hover over the pit entry, it would be able to be placed on both walls.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it just doesn't fit. So I don't think we will run into that issue here. But what we will run into is an all-finish front row. Hautayoki P1, Kasu P2. Then we've got the Championship 3, Merck, J. Cole, and Velo. In reverse order, Velo, the championship leader, the third of them. Then J. Cole, who's second, also second here, and Merck, who's the third in the standings here, ahead of his two rivals. So that could do for something well here. In 3, 4, and 5, Zadima 6, LTU 7, Sven 8, V8 Field 9, Lucky Finger 10. Exi invalidated his final run. I think he could have been able to improve, but he likes that P11, I think, because that's free tire choice.
Indeed. So is Jake going to stick with Inters? Is going to be the first question.
If it rains, yes.
Not those Inters, I dare say.
No, it would be different Inters for sure. But no, it's not raining just yet, but we know how Belgium is. There certainly is a possibility for rain around this track. Why is P5, I think that is,
bouncing
around up and down? Do you see that as well?
I do, yes. He's doing the whole, Lando Norris bouncing to music in the cockpit, hard enough to bounce the entire chassis. Nicely done there, sir.
I think the suspension is a bit too soft on that car.
Yeah, but he's having a great old time in there. He's clearly raring to go. Was it fifth? Was it Mercked?
No, it was Velo.
Velo. Oh, that's why he's
like a Mercedes.
Yes, Velo's the Merc. So, that's why he's wanting to get out there and get on with it. He's stopped now. He's heard his name and he's now behaving himself.
I think now that we've called him out, I think. I think he's. I mean, he's still doing it, but just less.
No, I just
saw him shuffle.
Well, here we go then with the formation map and the predicted tyre strategy: softs to hards. I doubt it.
I doubt it.
So
even if the drivers qualify on it, the soft to medium strategy should be possible.
Just 2 medium starters, Exi and KangoCon. Okay, well, fair enough. Worth a try from outside of the top 10. Why not? Softs shouldn't do too badly in this race. What did you say 11 laps the softs will do?
9 laps for the softs, 14 for the mediums, and 19 for the hards, which means the hards can almost do the whole race, but not quite.
Yeah.
So
do you think
if you do get a safety car early on, it is going to be possible. I think some drivers, because you save so much time, I think some drivers will go for the hard tires if we do get a safety car on lap 1 or 2.
Do you think anyone's going to try and push the softs to halfway in the race? I suppose there's no point. There's no point, is there? Because the mediums will then take the rest. So
exactly, the mediums will take more than half. They take 14. So I would say, I mean, it shows the predicted pit stop strategy lap 7, lap 8 for Hautayoki, that is. But I think so, soft to medium likely, and I think the pit window opens about lap 7. It's going to be a narrow window for the top 10, and well, for the drivers outside the top 10, it will be a little bit wider, but for the likes of Hautayoki all the way down to Lucky Finger, pit window opens lap 7, closes about lap 9, and for Mad Chip, Jake, Alexander, and Sniper, it will open lap 7 as well, but it will close lap 10. You can try to take these a little bit longer. For the medium runners, Exi and KangoCon, pit window open lap 12, closes lap 14, 15.
Oh dear, someone's had trouble further back. Alexander is, I presume he's had a spin somewhere because he's miles off the back of the field. Or is he? Oh, he's ghosted, that's why. Oh dear, trouble for Alexander then. As he's going to be a little bit, whatever issue he's having, or he's just decided to hit escape and let the AI deal with it. Fair enough, if you have. We will see as the field now begin to take up their positions. Just waiting now for the AI of...
Oh, he's disconnected.
Oh,
Alexander's
no.
disconnected. He's out of the session.
For some reason, I'm not getting those notifications, so you'll have to say
No,
somebody
I didn't get the notification either, but I see the red X behind his name.
Ah, that'll be it then. So here we go for the penultimate time in this season. It is time to wind them up and let them go. Who is going to be bravest on the brakes? A lot of switching around further back, as you can see. Hautayoki's had an absolute storming start, as you would imagine, into La Source. Who is going to be bravest on the brakes and who is going to bang off each other? Looks like it's all so far so good, except for, of course, Alexander, who is not actually in his car. Now that it's actually got Sniper Zone in the lead on my screen, we know that'll sort itself out a little bit later on.
Oh, there's the McLaren in the wall. That's Lucky Finger.
Oh, no.
On the top of Radion. He just spun on the top of Radion to the left side into the wall, and that is massive damage to the left side front wing of the car.
J. Cole has actually maintained his position ahead of Velo then as they come down towards Rivage for the first time in anger. So yeah, the Williams pair have swapped around. Merck now ahead of Casu. Jake has gained 5 positions, beg your pardon, from his start. A couple of gains for Kangakon and Sniper, but yeah, Lucky Finger, alas, fallen all the way down to the tail end of the field. And yeah, I think it's fair to say he's not going particularly quickly. I'm assuming he's missing, a fairly significant part of his front wing. Miko Hautayoki is stretching his legs up front in the Renault, as we would expect, but on board with J. Cole then, who's still trying to do something about his championship charges. Jake has gone past another to go up to 7th position. So already starting in 13th, he's up to 7th place just on that first lap. As a reminder, no DRS available to the drivers just yet. Sven and LTU swap round on their run through Blanchimont into the chicane for the first time in anger, and it's about 0.8 of a second that Hautayoki has to himself, but the field still very bunched up behind, with the exception of Lucky Finger at the tail of the field with that damage. Now DRS open to the drivers. We'll see what they can do.
Nope, lap two, DRS not enabled yet.
I did think that, but yes, it's caught me out again, of course, because my game's telling me it's lap 3. Well, it isn't at all. And Lucky Finger, nearly hits the wall on the way into the pit lane. I'm assuming that's going to be hard tyres for him. Yeah. He's got no choice, has he? So, difficult time for the McLaren. But up front, though, it's still pretty good. I think that's Alexander that's still... Alexander is still not with us. His car continuing on his merry way. Oh, medium tyres for Lucky Finger. You're hoping for a safety car, then?
Yeah, I think that's pretty clear. That's the hope for a safety car there. Otherwise, he's going to have to make a 2-stop work here. Don't see that happening. Well, lots going on there in the front. Lots going on with Jake as well. He's moved up to 7th place already, gained 6 on the first lap alone. Since then, this lap, second lap, it's been stalling a little bit. He's not been able to move past Zadima just yet, as the cars do split out a little bit. They spread out a little bit, I should say. Now everything's sorted again except the lap counter. That's still wrong. Mad Chip is in trouble. He's had a spin and would have tangled with Alexander if he was in his car, but a spin for the house then, as Mad Chip has now fallen to the tail end of the field. Yeah, I'm a little surprised actually the field is spread out to the degree it has, but on they go nonetheless. Is now the timing screen should correct itself quite nicely. Over a second then that Miko has to himself, but Casu is going to be playing rear gunner for Merck, you would imagine. But J. Cole is not going to be playing that game. He wants to be positioned for that DRS to kick in. There he goes. Is he close enough so Casu to make it work? Not this time, I would say. So he's going to have to bide his time on when he can try and get into that third position to go after Merck. But Velo is still looming in his mirrors. But yes, I'm a little surprised actually the field is spread out. Oh, big lockup though for J. Cole coming into the Rivage. So he needs to be careful doing that. His tyres won't thank him for that. But it is so far so good for most drivers at least, unless you're a McLaren. Yeah, at that point for the McLarens is gone from bad to worse. But looking at the team tactics here employed by Merck and Casu, Merck getting the position off of his teammate pretty early on now, trying to pull the gap. And, yeah, Kasu really trying to sort of play the Trulli strategy. His matchup, I think, is around again, or has some kind of issue through Poo on. But, yeah, I think Kasu trying to hold up J. Cole and Velo a little bit, maybe back them up into Zadima and Jake, possibly. And Sven as well. That, I think, is about the only way we can see Merck gain enough places. I mean, right now, if the race ends this way, with this order, then we would definitely have the championship decider at Brazil next week. And it would not be over just yet, but it would be looking pretty good for Velo. He would get 10 points right now. J. Cole would get 12. And Merck would get 18, so the gap would be down to 11 points from Merck to Velo, and that would be, let me calculate this in my head if I can, 16 from J. Cole to Velo.
Lots of locking up going on from the soft runners at the moment, but it's not slowing them down too much, it would seem. J. Cole, again, trying to close in on Kasu, another lockup going through Rivage. Now these soft tyres, of course, have had a fair amount of punishment already, so the driver's trying to push them a little bit further than they wish to be. And Miko Haseyoki is just having a Sunday drive out front without anything particularly to worry about. There's a gap forming there between 8th and 9th. LTU leads a little train of his own from 9th to about 12th, with him, V8 Field, Exi and Kangakon. So that's a small field being bookended by the Ferraris. And then Sniper, who's got that, is the first to open the penalty scoring with his 3-second penalties. He's a bit off the back of that second train. And Alexander, we know, is not with us. Mad Chip will be closing him down. And Lucky Finger is pretty much in a different time zone. Oh, wow, as Sniper nearly slams into the wall on the outside of Stavlo as we were looking at him. But yeah, so far it is, well, it's rather processional, which I'm very, very surprised about.
Yeah, not usually that we see that around Belgium. Usually we get quite a mad race, but yeah, I don't know what produces this right now. What I can tell you is I'm quite surprised to see Kangokon down in 12th. He's had 6 races, 6 starts so far this season. Never retired, not just that, never finished lower than 4th. Yeah. That 3 times at Bahrain, Japan, and France, but he also had 3 podiums at China 3rd. Australia 2nd, and Spain 2nd plus fastest lap. So, a bit surprising to see him that far down, but the strategy should come towards him. It seems like it's really difficult to overtake around here for some reason. Usually not what I'm expecting, and not what I think either of us have seen throughout the game cycle on Belgium. I think usually it's been quite a good track to battle on, but for some reason this time around, they're struggling a little bit, I guess.
Let's have a look at the ERS levels. 35% for Miko, 52 for Mert, Kasu, round about the same, about 44. J. Cole, well, J. Cole's actually not following his usual procedure. He usually burns the battery by now, but he's actually sat there about half. Nicely done. Velo is 3/4. Velo's always managing to keep that ERS level just a little bit higher than his competitors. Is he closing in on J. Cole? Not quite. Well, he'll close in a little.
Not enough.
No, not enough, notes. But he is staying right under the rear wing, though.
Yeah, at this point, regarding ERS levels, at this point the drivers would want to be somewhere between, at least 50%, maybe even all the way down, all the way up to, I would say about 80, which is where Velo is right now. You don't want more than that because then you run risk of wasting energy. Ooh. The battery can only carry so much energy. LTU's in the pit lane for hard. Here goes Velo on J. Cole. Round the outside. They are alongside now, but he can't get past. They're both, no, they're not. You're both using overtake. I think what's going on is that J. Cole first off keeps the position, but also that J. Cole, I think, has a lower downforce setup than Velo. And that will make it incredibly difficult for Velo to get past because I looked at both on boards. I saw Velo was using his overtake button basically throughout the whole Kemmel Straight. J. Cole was not. And so the difference in ERS between those two was about 25 to 30%. It's come down to about 10.
Well, we'll see how that plays out then. As Velo maintains that 5th position. Jake is now in 6th place. He's gotten past Zedema and all that going on. He's closing in on the Mercedes ahead. Yeah, a bit surprising from LTU. Been very early to go onto the hard tyres, but you never know. Stranger things have worked before. I'm still waiting for Jake to go onto intermediate tyres.
Maybe if it rains lap 19. He might.
Yeah. And he will want the warm ones just to go sideways through everywhere. Oh, J. Cole.
I think he still wants to win. It's just that, he just wanted to win from the back.
Fair play. There's another 3-second penalty on the board. Now, J. Cole is in a bit of trouble here because he will not have DRS off the Williams pair ahead of him. That's going to leave him quite vulnerable now as Kasu has timed it. Well, he's probably timed a move well to get away from the Red Bull, and alongside maybe J. Cole making a bit of a mistake. And here comes Velo, and there's the difference. Velo is going to he's backing off. He's not actually trying to make the move. He's turned the ERS down to 1. He's just staying close. He probably knew that he wasn't realistically going to be close enough to make a move without really really having to push hard. As Sniper gets another penalty on the board at the same time that Kango Con has worked his way past Exy. The 2 medium starters, they're just kind of minding their own business, really. About 4 seconds off the back of Sven, who's a little bit on his own. He's equidistant between those two that we've just seen, and the pack that has Zedema at the tail end of it. Yeah, so that's not ideal for J. Cole. Can he, is he going to be able to close that gap up? He's almost back within DRS range, in fairness. I think he's going to rely on a mistake from Kasu to help J. Cole pull that, pull back within DRS range. But all Kasu has to do is just maintain the gap. He doesn't have to do anything silly. And Merckx is in pretty comfortable position. They've closed in a little bit as well on Miko Hatsuyuki up front. That gap under 2 seconds now, but certainly nothing that the Renault driver needs to be worried about.
So we see drivers coming to the pit lane. That is Merckx and J. Cole following him in. Velo staying out, and that might have some repercussions for the championship as well, since Jake and Zedema are also coming in. They are performing the undercut here on Velo. I think Velo is going to be the one who loses out positions on the rest of them. And I said, pit window, open lap 7. Well, guess when they came in?
Ta-da! Yep. You are absolutely on fire today, sir. Almost every prediction you've made so far has been spot on. And yeah, Velo's taken that opportunity. He's actually burned his ERS right down to nothing to try and maximize the overcut or minimize the undercut, depending on how you look at it. He can't get any help from his teammate. His teammate's 6 seconds behind. There's Kasu just going through the shot. So Velo is going to need to make that work as best he can. Interestingly, those no one has come out close to where the person they came in. So J. Cole's actually come out ahead of those that have just stopped. Where did Merckx? What's he doing down in 11th? He must have been held quite badly. Whoa!
Yeah, he almost runs into the back of Sniper there. He really wants to get that position because these old soft tires on Sniper's car, they really hold him up right now through the corners. He's going for the move into Puon. He has to. He cannot wait, and he is going for that one. He gets it on the better grip, the better tires, up to P10. But that is so unfortunate here for Merckx that he lost out so significantly. A Sniper, almost running off.
Nearly flew off the road there.
Yeah, but yeah, Merckx really. I think the PG term for this is he got screwed over.
Very much
by
so.
The game, because this is just. I mean, he lost. Look at how much he lost. He's about what now? 6 seconds behind J. Cole. Over 6 seconds behind J. Cole. That is a massive time loss.
Ouch, indeed.
Did he have damage? 6 seconds to me says. Yes, he had a front wing change. He wasn't held.
Oh.
Never mind. So I was about to say, being held for 6 seconds is quite long. No.
Oh,
So
Jacob and Casu! Sorry to cut you off, Austin. Side by side on the pit lane exit. And the Red Bull just slots ahead of the Williams. But how is that going to bite him back on the run down the Camel Straight? Surely it's going to.
Casu.
Yeah. And
DRS for Casu. And he'll get it.
And there he goes, flies back past the Red Bull. That was, Jacob was a little bit rock and a hard place there. He would have probably been better served to sit behind Cassie, but with Merckx, essentially, he's not out of the picture, but he's not in an immediate championship winning position, so to speak, or championship influencing position, I should say. But equally, Velo is still the car directly behind him. So Jacob's not been able to shake off the Mercedes, but the Williams has. I wonder what he did that, because he was in second position. It must just be a mistake somewhere. We didn't see him hit anything, but he was essentially just out there on his own.
Yeah, very, very surprising for Merck to have picked up some damage there. He was actually... Oh, I think I know where it may have happened. Because he was running at such a consistently good pace for the whole of the first stint that I'm pretty sure that happened on pit entry.
Ah, that makes perfect sense. So a marshal's picked up a souvenir somewhere. As Sven has now come in, the last of the... Oh, no, sorry, not quite last of the stop starters, but he led the race for a little
Alexander isn't in the lobby.
Well, true. As Mika then is right with Exy and should be able to blast past him without losing any significant amount of time. Jacob would love for his teammate to hold the charging Renault back, but it's just we know this routine by now. It's just not going to happen. DRS open for the Renault. Exy, it stays on the racing line. He knows there's no point trying to defend that one, and into second for Miko Hausioki. Kasu, though, does not have that luxury. He's got that Red Bull nailed to his diffuser as he himself picks up a 3-second penalty. We actually witnessed the last of those warnings take place. And Velo is very close to losing DRS off the back of J. Cole as well. So it's not all done and dusty. Yes, Exy now gets on the penalty board. Wow, it's going to be a case of who doesn't have a penalty by the time the race is done.
Yeah, I can tell you one person who's very unlikely to pick up a penalty overall. Even though he's on 2 warnings right now, is Mika Hautoyoki. He has to be careful as well, but usually I think we've heard it last week in the post-race. Well, I've heard it. You weren't there.
I wasn't there. No.
But from Jake, if I remember correctly, who was talking about battling the likes of Velo and Kasu in the final laps of the race, that he was just trying to, or was it? Maybe it was Mika Hautoyoki himself who said, getting the first 2 warnings can happen quite easily. Then it's, you have to take good care. But I think at that skill level, a lot of drivers are very capable of taking care of the car, making sure it's not leaving the track with all 4 wheels and they don't pick up a penalty. So yeah, I think with him and Jake Wills as well, we're going to have... although he's actually on... Surprisingly, he's on 3 warnings, but I think at least one of them is for contact. Would be surprised if that's not the case, because you can't get 3 warnings. Yeah. Oh, no, it's not for... Haha! It's not for contact. It's for crossing the pit lane exit white line.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, but only a warning for it.
Only a warning for it. That's fair enough. As Kango Khan is now on the penalty board. LTU on those hard tyres now up to 11th, mainly due to the pits and misadventures of others, I'd have thought, but still minding his own business in the Ferrari, and Miko has regained the lead as we saw. Kasu's very close to Exy now. Now this could be a little awkward for the Williams driver, because he's going to have to almost wait, really, until they get the Blanchimont to try and safely get past the leading Red Bull. On board with J. Cole now as he's watching on, and we're not expecting Exy into the pits certainly this time around. Let's see how they do then. Out of Curveball Fray, Blanchimont is looming. Is Cassie going to try and make the move, or is he going to wait for the Camel Straight? No, he's not close enough to make the move this time, but neither is J. Cole. And whilst they've all been fighting, say allowed, but he's allowed Velo to close in a little bit. And also Jake is not far behind either. There he is at the top of the shot. Lovely helicam shot going on here as Miko's got the fastest up with that 44.3. And look how close Kasu is to the back of Exy. Now, Exy could try and hold up the Williams a little bit. Oh, the Williams got a little bit put off, it looked like. Oh, we've got to go on board with Jacob for this one. Down past La Source into a Rouge, up and over Radion. Let's see how this one plays out. Now, Exy is going to be absolutely mugged here, I think it's fair to say. DRS open. Now, Exy does go for the defensive line. Gives his teammate a big old slipstream, which he picks up off the Williams as well. He's going to try and thread the needle through the pair of them. He gets his teammate, but doesn't quite get past the Williams. He's now going to switch to the outside for the last part of Lake Arm. Impact between the two. Oh, it was a great effort for Jacob, but couldn't quite pull off the move. It was close and well driven, but wasn't quite there. And Velo has actually gotten past Exy as well on the exit of Rivage. Nicely done. Jake is right with him as well. My goodness me, that could have gone horribly wrong, but it was well driven in the end. Jacob now to fourth.
Yeah, that was Shades of Ricardo Zonta, 1998, I think it was.
In that region,
when was it?
I thought it was 97,
late
but
90s.
yeah.
97, okay, there you go. And 98 was the massive crash, yeah. I remember that one, out of La Source. So, yeah, Shades of Spa 97 here. Exy just no pace on those old tires, and then they fly past him.
Oh, Zadima! Oh, Zadima's in trouble! Oh no, on the exit of Stavolo. He's done that properly, but he's staying out of the way, letting through the Ferrari in the house as LTU and V8 Field. And back onto track for Zadima. Ah, it's a shame, but what a pack we've got going on for, well, essentially it is second and backwards. There's a bit of a gap between Kasu and Kangokon, but I don't think that gap's going to last too long. Velo is staying with Jacob, who's doing what he can to stay with Kasu. Here we go then. Now Kasu, of course, does not have DRS off the back of the Ferrari. Jacob, that wasn't a brilliant run up and over Radion, but it's not going to be enough to keep Velo in bay. Here comes the Mercedes. No, he doesn't go for the move. He stays behind the Red Bull. I mean, there's no immediate need for Velo to make the move at this stage. And, of course, he doesn't want to leave himself open to counter-attack. Wow, Jacob had a great exit from Lake Arm, giving himself a few car lengths from the Mercedes. That'll be the setup difference you were referencing earlier, Austin. But that duel is shaping up to be a brilliant one to the flag, I would think.
Yeah, it looks like it. Although I'm a bit surprised that Velo is not trying to battle. Generally, in his championship situation, you want to battle with your rivals as much as possible because he has the lead. If he's able to slow down his rivals, that means they're all going to score less points. So I would have expected Velo to be really in a fighting mood today. For him to take it as cautiously as he does, pretty surprising to me based on the standings. But I think since we've talked to Velo a couple times, he doesn't strike me as a someone who gets very aggressive very easily. He seems very laid back, and I think that translates to the track here as well. So in that regard, not surprised, but I feel like a little bit more urgency maybe to try and get J. Cole away from the DRS of Kasu. Just send it up the inside a little bit, you don't have to go full dive bomb, but just, have your car in there, show him, hey, I'm here, pay attention to me, and all of a sudden, J. Cole's going to have to, now he's too far away, but, just maybe try and get a move done at some point, somewhere, really stay close to him. Velo should, based on the setup differences that I assume are the case, and I would think Velo assumes the same right now as well. And Velo gets a penalty, actually.
Ooh.
Well, that changes things.
Right.
That significantly changes things. Now, the urgency has become even more. He needs to slow J. Cole down, because J. Cole at this point is safe to gain some points on him as long as J. Cole himself doesn't get a penalty. So, yeah, he really needs to slow him down at this point. Otherwise, J. Cole's going to finish second because Kasu himself also has a penalty, and that's 18 points, whereas Velo, well, he's going to fall down at least to 5th. So that could be 8 points, and we could have a very interesting final race. We could talk about 10 points difference between Velo and Jaco if things finish, including the penalties, the way they are right now.
And that's just the difference between first and third, bear in mind. So, yeah, that is going to make that's going to shape up for a brilliant Brazil. If the race finishes the way it is. Exi is in the pits, so that's the last of the 2 medium starters we had. Kangakon's already been in for his soft tyres, so they could play a bit of a part as the race continues. We'll see how they get on towards the tail end of it. On board again with Jake Wills. Now he's been looming in the mirrors of the Mercedes of Velo for a while now. You know, Velo had the opportunity to make the last lap on J. Cole on the Camel Straight, with the Red Bull not getting the DRS off the back of the Williams, but opted not to do it. Again, just staying cautious, staying where he is, and then he picked up that 3-second penalty. But again, he's not made the move this time around. Lots of locking up going on between several people. And Zadima with the soft tyres, now with the fastest lap of the race. That's not going to help him championship-wise, but it's a nice feeling to have nonetheless.
Yeah, not yet, but he only needs one more position to get there. And in fact, if we look at penalties between him and Sniper, okay, they're tied at 6 seconds, so you would have to get that. But he's on the soft tyre, so he should be able to get some move going on within the next couple of laps on Sniper up to P12, and then at that point he would get the fastest lap point. Remember here, there are points for the top 12, and the fastest lap also goes to a driver in the top 12. If they were to hold the fastest lap, they would get the point.
Indeed, so not quite the standard Formula 1 structure there, used in the LOE points table. Oh, as the Mercedes goes very deep into the chicane, very close to the back of the Red Bull. Had to get out of that a little bit. Jake then now really in a position where he can pester for the next position down the road, but he hasn't got a lot of ERS energy either. So again, it's this being there's not all that many braking points here, certainly in comparison to how much right foot there is going on. It's really difficult to recharge those batteries to any significant amount. And Jake is trying to use what energy he's got, but he's just got nothing there. He's had to turn that back down again. And Velo, he's got no energy either. And J. Cole, well, he wasn't using much of what he had, but there's no major braking zones to recharge those batteries with.
Yeah, on this track, it should be a little bit easier because there aren't many heavy braking zones, but there are a lot of small ones which still kind of help, and there's a lot of trail braking going on into the corners, which also helps with recharging the energy, at least to some degree. But I think the main issue is that you have so many just long acceleration zones, and despite the usually lower downforce setup in general compared to what the average is, I would say, if you sort of averaged out Monza setup and Monaco setup, this is lower downforce than the average of those two, so it's closer to Monza here. Which helps regaining energy, by the way. If you run a lower downforce setup, that helps you regain energy a bit better. But it's still difficult here because you have just so many long acceleration zones. And with these drivers racing as close as they do, they aren't trying to regain energy either. They have to use their energy as soon as they get out of La Source. You're going to see everything light up green. Kasu, J. Cole, well, Velo this time saves a little bit, but you see immediately the gap that forms between J. Cole and Velo because of not using the overtake button there. And he will have the DRS, but he will definitely not be close enough to attempt an overtake, and he will have to fight to get back closer to J. Cole, as the gap is now 7/10 of a second almost. In fact, it is 7/10 of a second, therefore a split second. But yeah, it's tricky when you're racing that close. If you're not using the energy and everyone else is, that's either the position gone or it's the DRS gone, and you don't want either of those to happen.
Indeed, you don't. As we just jumped to Exi, as I was seeing, he was getting quite close to LTU. Jumped to him just in time to see him fly off the road at Radion, which is very easy to do. He's also got V8 Field right with him, although the more worn medium tyres is not going to help the Haas try and keep up with the second Red Bull. It's difficult to know with the looks. There's a few potential battles going on. That one for 9th is one of them, although I suspect Exy is just going to leave the Ferrari for dead. The hard tyres on the Ferrari doing okay, but it's not going to help him defend that position. We've got just over 5 laps to go, and I think we're going to start to see maybe a bit more urgency from our pack 2nd to 5th. But again, as we've been discussing, with that the issue with the ERS or lack thereof, they may not have anything to push with.
Yeah, looking at it right now, Velo is actually not using ERS at all around the whole lap, other than the medium setting he has. He entered Lesour's last lap with around 25. Now he is at 34. And now he's using just a little bit, just a spurt of ERS there. Just a spurt of the 160 extra horsepower that the battery gives him. And it's just to get that acceleration out of the corner. But he wants to save as much as possible. I think he's sort of building up for a last lap finale here. It's not the finale of the season, but he wants to potentially get the move on J. Cole. But for what, really, ultimately? He has a penalty. Unless J. Cole gets one, I don't really see the point in it.
But J. Cole's got his fuel light on, or did. Oh, no, he does again. So
yeah,
J. Cole
right
is
on the verge.
really on the limit for fuel. So that could still play a factor in the closing stages of the race. We'll have to see if he can manage the right foot as well as the ERS as another penalty crops up, this time for V8 Field. In the Haas down in 11th position. And still Velo doing a great job just hanging on to the back of J. Cole. I would think he's kind of hoping for a mistake at this point, as J. Cole does seem to have enough to at least stay there, if not keep him behind. But equally, Jake is still looming, although Jake is using his ERS to try and keep up with the two ahead. So I don't know that he's going to factor an awful lot in the remaining part of this race.
Well, I think for Jake, I've seen this before from him. I think he just uses his ERS the way he sees fit. Not to keep up with them, but to just maximize corner exits.
Oh, J. Cole's not going to have DRS this time. He's fallen too far behind the Williams. Surely now, with a little bit more ERS in the tank. There we go. It's being used. It's being burnt from Velo. Surely he's going to fly past J. Cole now. Yep, he doesn't even need to wait for the DRS zone. And there he goes. Oh, Velo's now running light on fuel. So Velo can't just dance off into the distance either. So J. Cole knows he just has to kind of stay with him. Doesn't have to do anything silly. But that fuel light is going to be a definite concern for now. Both our third and fourth competitors.
Yeah, Velo's fuel light is off again. J. Cole's not so much.
No.
And he needs to keep that under control. He does have quite a bit of time to do so. And usually a little bit of short shifting, a little bit of lean mix should do the trick already. A lean mix generally, I think, is the better option. And in fact, the fuel light is off again. It's sort of sometimes getting
right on the limit.
Off again. Yeah, but I think he's saving a bit of fuel this time around. But he can't lose control. He can't lose control. That is true.
Definitely not.
Contact to Velo here. Yeah. If he does that, that second place that he would get on penalties right now might be gone, and he has to use overtake again. He's under 10% now. Velo's trying to pull that gap, but Velo is actually running on 0 ERS right now. He has nothing left in the battery, at least before the braking zone. Haotoyoki on mediums. Are you kidding me? Kangagon had set the fastest lap on softs with a 143.6. There comes Haotoyoki on older mediums with a 143.5. That is ridiculous. And I mentioned before, I think, since you mentioned that I'm so on fire today, just to toot my own horn a little, I think I said at the start of the stream that I would expect the fastest lap of the race to be around the 1 minute 43s.
Tick another box for the Badger Man. Nicely done, sir. 3 to go.
Jacob just got the DRS there, but he's basically out of it right now. He did get it for the Camel Straight, but he has to now fight back. But with only 3 laps to go, he might actually be able to save himself here to the line. The gap between him and Kasu, that's what he has to look at right now. Only 1.7. It's not that bad. If he doesn't lose more than 0.4 of a second per lap, he'll be fine.
Yeah, and that is the golden point, isn't it? Now, Velo is the one that, if he's going to try and undo that 3-second penalty, he's left it too late to do it. But then I imagine he probably couldn't have done anything about it, as we have a McLaren that's stranded. Lucky Finger has had a problem. Is he disconnected?
Exit.
No, he's still going.
No, just exit of Blanchiment is where he seemed to have lost it, and maybe just, I think he may have just gotten onto the inside curb, which just like the one in Pujon, very tricky, very high, very steep curb right there. You don't want to hit that. You don't want to even touch that. If you do, it usually sends you around, and you can see your rear overtake you in real time.
2 to go. Velo is closing in on the back of Kasu. That gap is continuing to rise between J. Cole and Kasu, and J. Cole now has no DRS to help him along his way. Obviously, neither does Kasu, so that may be a completely moot point as the race continues. But of course, it won't be a moot point if J. Cole picks up that unenviable penalty. So there he is, slightly looking back at Jake, but Jake's not close enough to make the move this time around. Velo doesn't challenge Kasu either. Gap now, hovering about 1.9, so still hanging around where it needs to be. Of course, the fuel lights will now start to come on as we are in the very closing stages of the race. And Jake on again, he's tempting fate, really. That yellow light coming back on a couple of times on his dash. There it is, you can just see it flickering away there. But he's going to be so tight for the Brit to hang on to what is a potential second place, and outscoring his main championship rival. At the moment, it's still going to go down to Brazil, so there's still positions to be sorted out.
Yeah, there are positions to be sorted out in this race as well. I mean, look at how close Jake is to J. Cole now. Gap less than half a second, in fact, about 3.5 tenths here. And Jake is getting closer and closer to the slipstream, really pulling him along. He might actually fancy a move into the bus stop chicane, potentially. I think he might be just a bit too far away. He looks for just a little swerve there, decides against it ultimately, and he stays behind. I think he wants to use the chemistry to do that, which would be good news for Velo. In fact, it could be even better news for Velo. A, if those two here start battling, and B, if he potentially can get a move on Kasu down the Camel Straight. He's a little bit far away right now. He will use all of his overtake. Kasu did not. Kasu wants to use more down the straight. He uses it here now, up Radion, and at this point, Velo is completely out of it. But here goes Jake on J. Cole. He has the slipstream, has the DRS. He pulls alongside. J. Cole likes the outside here, but Jake is just too strong. Jake up into a net second place. And J. Cole really has to hope that he can keep that gap between himself and Kasu to under 3 seconds. It's 2.8 now, 2.7. It's teetering on the verge of that. It's in fact exactly 3 seconds. It's over now.
I think fuel is going to bite J. Cole now. Oh dear, in the dying stages of the race, that may have undone itself for the Red Bull. Oh, we will see. We will see when the penalties are totted up at the end of the race. But once again, a very dominant performance from the Renault of Miko Hatsuyuki. Kasu's done a pretty good job holding on to his position. Yeah, that was not what Jake needed. He didn't need Jake getting involved, but if he's had to back off due to fuel, it may be a moot point anyway. Here comes the Renault into the chicane for the final time with one of the McLarens, I think, somewhere ahead of him. So your winner here for the penultimate round of the season is the Renault of Miko Hatsuyuki. Second is Kasu. Third, Velo. Let's see how the penalties shake up. Jake is going to inherit second, and Jake Cole inherited fourth. So he didn't quite, half a tenth between himself and Velo. So he did manage to beat Velo, but was indeed 7 tenths behind Kasu in the end. Kasu just a tenth behind Jake after all is said and done. My goodness me. So Mert come home in 6th place behind Velo. Kangokon 7, Sven 8, XE 9, and LTU chases home the Red Bull of Exy over the line. And that also shakes down. So Sven 8th, LTU 9, and Exy is demoted to 10th. Where is V8 Field? There he is. He's crossed the line in 11th. Here comes Sedima, who had that stint on the soft tires towards the end of the race. Wiggles his tail and over the line in 12th. Sniper, we know the McLarens have had a pretty rough ride of it today. And 13th position is as much as he can hope for. So he comes over the line. Madchip as well. We saw him pointing the wrong direction a couple of times. The Ghost of Alexander has already finished the race. And it's going to be 14th for Madchip. And Lucky Finger, well, it all went wrong very early on. Facing the wrong way with a dead wing on the opening lap. So 15th is as best as he can hope for. He would have been better to kind of pull over and let Miko come past him, so he didn't have to do a whole lap with us staring at him, but that's the way it goes. And here comes the second McLaren to be the last man over the line. My goodness, what a race we've had. So we had some technical difficulties at the beginning, but the field has now done their duty and given us a race to talk about. Jake with the driver of the day, not surprising considering he started at the back and has ended up right towards the sharper end of the field. But, I mean, you can't take it away from the Renault on the top spot. But, I mean, Jake, yeah, started last, finished second. I'd say that's a pretty good nomination for driver of the day.
Yeah, certainly. And I just quickly ran the math as well on the championship standings right now. That is, of course, before any potential penalties are being applied, which I don't think will happen. We didn't see too much going on between the drivers. Everything was pretty clean. But, you know, you never know. There might be something going on. Velo, still the leader, of course. 205, the first one to break the 200-point barrier this season. J. Cole, 16 behind at 189. Merckx, 21 behind Velo at 184. That means Velo, all he needs next time out is a
podium.
P4 would be enough.
Wow, goodness me. So less pressure,
Yeah.
but we've seen it unravel in the blink of an eye before. And Brazil, especially if it's wet, is very unforgiving. So it's going to be...
It certainly can be.
Yeah, so we will see how that shakes out. But it is Mika Haseoki, Jake Wills, and Kasu are podium 3. So hopefully we will get a chance to have a natter to them. Let's get some background music going. Who has joined us? Well, we've got 2 of them. Let's have a chat then with Kasu first of all. Oh, well, you had a lot to do going on in that race, didn't you?
Yeah, it was really sweaty.
Talk us through it from your side.
I mean, just trying to pump in the best laps again. Had a bit of a struggle to lose Jacob from DRS. When I did, that ending was just mental. Yeah.
So you swap round. Was it an intentional move to swap round with your teammate in the beginning part of the race? It looked like Merck got past you fairly early on. Was that the intention, or did he just surprise you?
Not really. He just had so good straight line speed with the slipstream.
Ah, I see. But sadly, he had to take a front wing change early on. Do you know what happened there? Did he hit the wall or?
Yeah, he hit the wall on the pit entry. That was really
another point for the Badger Man. Yeah, that's exactly what Austin said it was. I did wonder why we didn't see it, but well, I mean, well done. Another very fine podium for you. So the second half of the season really has kind of come good to you. Certainly more in a consistent sense. It's been a little bit up and down, but yeah, another podium for you. Final round in Brazil. What are your thoughts towards Interlagos?
I kind of like the track, but it will depend if I choose to race on pad or wheel. How much success I will have at Brazil.
Fair enough. We wish you the best of luck for the final round. Thank you very much, Kasu. Have fun out there, Jake, did you?
Hello. Yeah, it was pretty good. Annoyingly, I got held in the pits though, so I had to use all my... I saved up so much ERS and I had to use it all to try catch up. I think I lost like 2 seconds to J. Cole and I had to try catch him up. And then Another time when I think before J. Cole got overtaken by, was it Kasu, I think, or Velo? One of them. Towards the end, I had ERS to save up against them guys, and then I made a mistake on Puan. I don't think you called it on stream, but I literally was drifting, and I had to use my ERS to catch back up again. I kept floating between 1 second and 1.2 seconds for like 2 laps, and I had to drain all my ERS for that. But I managed to get J. Cole on the last lap, and I don't think he's too happy about that.
That's the way it goes sometimes, isn't it? But I mean, we did notice your slightly unusual tyre selection for qualifying. We found that quite amusing.
Yeah, I didn't know if I didn't set a time it wouldn't save my setup or something, so I thought, oh, no way someone's gonna get beaten by me on intermediates, and I ended up qualifying P13 somehow. I don't know what happened to the other two. Why they didn't qualify, I'm not sure. But yeah, that was literally the reason. I thought it was quite fun to go around on Inters and drift a little bit.
It did look like you had a lot of fun out there, and I understand that that's your final race of the season. We won't be seeing you in Brazil next week.
Correct. I do not want to get in trouble with the missus. It's her birthday.
That's we totally understand. A great shame because I mean, again, that was a great performance from near last to second. But it's been great to have you as part of the season. We look forward to seeing you again in the future. Thank you very much, Jake Wills.
Thank you.
Mikko Hautajoki, once again, another dominant performance at the top of the tree. Well, you didn't really have much to worry about, did you?
First of all, I want to apologize, Exy, for the qualifying. I don't know if it was desync or what, but I completely ruined his lap in the bus stop chicane, his final run. So, huge apologies for him. I couldn't do a thing. But yeah, and the qualifying, disconnect, connect, disconnect, connect, restart, reboot, connect. Thankfully, I got that one good lap.
So
in the race.
The game was trying to give you a handicap. That was what was going on there. The game knew you were too good.
I don't know if that's what it was, but yeah, got that one good lap, and the first thing, it was pretty much just the first few laps to try and pull away for that 1 second, and I think I used like 80% ERS in the first 2 laps just to get that 1 second gap, and thankfully I got it. Otherwise I would have been in trouble with both of the Williamses. But yeah, from that moment onward, it was just controlling the pace and saving the tires and ERS and fuel.
So, what's your thoughts towards Interlagos?
Not one of my favorites, but I'm sure I can do some kind of a result over there as well.
Well, we look forward to seeing you there, as we always do. Thank you very much, Mikko Hautajoki.
Thank you.
J. Cole, are you with us?
I am. How you boys doing?
Well, we're doing all right. So your championship's taken a little bit of a turn for the worse in the tail end of this of the season. What happened?
Definitely some very, very bad luck from last week. I think that's the main premise of it. The championship would have been a lot closer. I think it would have just been between me and Velo at that point. But yeah, I think that's put the sort of the damper on this championship, in my opinion. But still, I'm trying to keep it as close as I can. I get the feeling it's more Velo is going to take it next week, but I suppose anything can happen at Brazil, so
yeah,
I've just got to take what I can get, really.
Yeah, especially if you get wet weather, then it really is all bets are off. Is Interlagos usually kind to you?
Not particularly. There's definitely been a few moments in LOE on the PS4 side that I think a few guys can say that I've had it around Brazil, so yeah, it's not particularly a strong suit for me. So it's more, I've just got to try and play my cards right next week, and I just hope and pray.
Best of luck, all the same, for the final round next week at Interlagos. Thank you very much, J. Cole.
Thank you very much, lads.
And that is going to wrap it up for this week. So the championship's still yet undecided. It's stacked in Velo's favour, but anything can happen around the twisty trials of Interlagos. Thank you very much, Badgerman, for keeping me on the straight and narrow and putting up with all my technical troubles. Always a great pleasure to have you in the box with me, good sir.
Yeah, always a pleasure commentating with you, and very glad that you were able to fix all the technical issues ultimately. And I think we are set for a fantastic season finale next week.
Absolutely agree. Thank you very much to our drivers for putting on a great show as always, and thank you very much to you guys watching along either live or post-event. We always welcome you to come along. So same time next week for the grand final of Season 2 for the PC side here at League of Europe. Don't miss it. It's going to be a good one, I have no doubt. Until then, thank you very much, and good night.